Okay, welcome back. Today we're doing Ski or Die, not to be confused with Skate or Die. And Skate or Die, you hear retro gamers, it's been talked about to death. Ski or Die, I don't know that I've ever really heard anyone say that much about this game. Admittedly, there is not much to say about this game. This falls into that category of disliked old games from that 8-bit era. You could be polite about it and call them party games, or you could be impolite about it and call them crappy games. And I'm specifically talking about Skate or Die, Ski or Die, and mostly those Epyx games, like the video games made by Epyx, E-P-Y-X, California games, summer games, winter games. There might be more, but those are the ones I remember. Maybe there was an Olympic Games, and not all, those Epyx games were ported to a ton of systems. I had them on my Apple II GS, where there were more events. It played more fluidly, great sound, great graphics too, but still not a great game. You know, kind of fun to burn off, 20 minutes or whatever on a lazy summer day, but I think I will include a link to because I think the one everyone is most familiar with is Winter Games. And Winter Games on the NES, obviously it's not very good. I had it on the Apple II GS, and it was decent. It wasn't great, but it was, it was playable, except for the figure skating. For some reason, just like the NES version, the figure skating was just impossible to figure out. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump into Ski or Die. And true story, when I picked up this game, it was at a used game store a long time ago. And I honestly thought I was picking up a copy of Skate or Die just to pad my collection a bit. I didn't have Skate or Die. And imagine my surprise when I pop it in, and it's Ski or Die. It still uses that weird guy. I don't know, did he have a name tag in Skate or Die? Here, it says Rodney. Obviously a nod to Rodney Dangerfield. And there's some jokes up here. Snow does awful things to my dew. Nothing you can actually do here except for check out the high scores. And the high scores are deleted the minute you turn off this game. No point in saving them, so not much of a score chaser. You do have to register. And I'm going to give a quick tour of the events. Alright, player 1. And we are going to be named Poser, to honor Poser Pete from Skate or Die. Make sure you spell it with the U. I'm really dating myself, but when I was in middle school, we're talking like 1996 through 1998, to be called a poser was like the ultimate insult. I don't even hear anyone use it as an insult anymore. But it's got to be spelled with a U. It was basically a way of saying, hey, you can't skate. Back when everyone was going through their middle school skateboarding phase. So I've already done all the events once. They're not very good. Look at how ugly this is. It is kind of funny if you look in the corners, you see Burton. I don't think Burton had anything to do with this game. Burton actually makes snowboarding gear. But man, these graphics are so pukey. I'm almost half tempted to look online and see if maybe there was a 2GS version of this game. Because I did have Skate or Die on the Apple II GS, and it looked decent, but it wasn't great. The Pool Joust played significantly better than the NES version. Alright, so we're going to do Snowball Blast first. And this is it. It's just your basic, boring snowball fight. I don't know what that wind direction is for. Oh, I got machine gun snowballs now. Like, this obviously would have... Oh, hit the polar bear. Would have been better with the zapper, but probably not by much. There's a Yeti. No idea if that's a good score or not. That is a very boring mini game. If you're not impressed, if you are impressed, you shouldn't be. As far as very basic single screen first-person shooters go, that's awful. Alright, we'll do Downhill Blitz. This one was okay. Controls take a little while to get used to. Whoops. Yeah, if you don't memorize the course and know which way to go, forget it. You're not gonna... It's not gonna be much fun. And this is very... Was there even a right way to do that? There might be a way to, like, jump or something that I don't know about. Yeah, there must be a way to jump that I don't know about. Oh, okay, there we go. I still don't know exactly how I did it or what I did. Just kind of mash A and B until he decides to jump into the water. Alright, that was okay. Maybe if I knew how to do the jump mechanic a little bit better, it'd be more fun, but... I think I said it already, but that reminds me very much of the downhill race of Skate or Die. So we got a boring shooter, a copycat of Skate or Die's downhill. Alright. Alright, we're gonna get this one, whoops, out of the way. Acro aerials. This one sucks. This is probably the weakest one, because just like all the other Epyx minigames, I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do to manipulate the controls. You feel like you're just button mashing. Now, the Apple IIgs version of Winter Games that I had this event. It was called Hot Dog, and you used the joystick, and it was a little bit more intuitive. The joystick, you could, you know, roll around, make it to do the tricks. You know, I think up made you do a split. If you rotated it, you'd do a somersault. Yeah, it was a little bit more intuitive. This, with a D-pad and buttons, you really have no idea what you're doing. Alright, that's enough tricks. Just kind of hoping to land it so we can get some kind of score. It's obviously a weak score. Yep, nothing's happening. I really wish instead of bothering to render NPC faces for the judges that they just would have made this a little more fun to control. Yeah, not much of a score. Alright, next we're going to do inner tube thrash. Alright, and initially I thought the whole point was to just to win the downhill race, but it's a little bit more than that. You want to deflate the other inner tube as much as possible. You want to get those point power-ups or whatever. Basically, you want to outscore the other person, but I don't know, I don't feel like I'm doing a very good job of stabbing his inner tube. And I have no idea how his score is so much higher than mine either. This is a very poor substitute for what I presume is supposed to be the pool joust from Skate or Die. Yep, so that's terrible. That's the inner tube thrash. Still not quite clear how to get better at racking up points. Alright, now we did save the most playable one for the last. Snowboard halfpipe. This one is probably the only salvageable minigame. I was trying to jump. and I'm not having a very good run. Now, in Winter Games, they did have the bobsled, which was actually pretty fun. It's like your guy only jumps when he wants to. There we go. There we go. There we go. Whoop. Alright, so at least we racked up some points. Oh, he actually called me a poser. A brain-dead poser. Alright, so yeah, that's... I didn't quite figure out what I was doing till the end, but that is, in my opinion, the most fun. Again, reminds me of the bobsled from Winter Games, which was the most playable minigame in Winter Games, but... And I apologize, this is I guess the moral of the story is this is basically a, like an amalgamation of, Winter Games and Skate or Die. And just as good as both of those, which is to say not very. The retro gamers and myself seem to agree that these minigame type party games, whatever you want to call them, just did not make for very good retro games. It wasn't a very fun experience. But on the one hand, you pick it up, you play it for a few minutes, it's fine. They just badly needed a little bit more polish. Now these games are cheap. You can still pick up Skate or Die or Ski or Die on the cheap if you want to. Controls fairly broken in most of them though, in most of the mini games, so kind of a play at your own risk. This wasn't a very good game to own as a kid, so that's it. Not much else to say about this junk. And if it's the first time hearing about it, don't sweat it. You didn't miss out. So thanks for checking us out. We'll come back again soon.